So we're going to start this video off by taking a look at my screen in Marvel Contest of Champions, and if you start looking around you can notice a few things. First of all, there are only 9 days left in this month's event quest. Second of all, I have not fought Sam Wilson, Captain America, in the Cavalier difficulty yet. And lastly, my unit total is over 2,600, closing in on 3,000 units. And if you haven't figured it out by the thumbnail, title, and the way I'm starting this video yet, the reason for all this is because I am waiting until I have 3,000 units to take on Sam Wilson so that then I can initiate the Cavalier difficulty monthly deal in order to pick up a big stash of 30% boosts so that I can be ready for Alliance War Season 32, which starts later this week. The idea that I was doing this, that I was saving these units up and sort of playing my account this way this month really prompted me to think a little bit about boosts in general and how you can pick them up if you do not want to spend money on the game, or at least if it's not appealing to you to be buying the early access deals that are $50 each, and they do include some of the 30% boosts. We're going to be talking about all the kinds of boosts, not just the big ones, but I am going to be kind of doing this through the lens of somebody that doesn't spend a lot or at all on the game and who needs them for Alliance War, and talk a little bit about all the different kinds of boosts as well. The structure of this video is we're going to start off by just talking a little bit about boosting in general, and then I'm going to be going location by location in the game for where you can find smaller boosts, smaller meaning 20% or less. Then I'm going to be discussing further the 4 unit deals that you can get for these larger boosts like the 30%. I'm not going to do any chapters, but if I'm talking about a topic that you already are very fluent in, feel free to hit the skip 15 seconds button until I get to an area that you are less familiar with. So we're going to start off a little bit by talking about champion boosts in general and the different kinds. So in order to do that, let's just go into a quest. I think I'm in the middle of one of these, and we're going to hit the boost button. And now these common boosts basically tell you all you need. There are champion boosts, which are the green ones, and these are basically going to be boosting your health and attack. There are attack boosts, which are the orange ones, and these are going to be boosting just your attack. And then there are health boosts, which are going to be boosting your health. When people talk about rainbow boosting, what they mean is throwing on the green, the orange, and the red, and it doesn't necessarily mean the highest of each one, but if you've ever heard that term, it just means adding the stats in all of those directions. Now, you can't see it here, but there are additional boosts that are only for Alliance War, and they basically mirror these, only they have sort of a more bright color, I would say. And they also last for 6 hours. So you will see the equivalent, 15, 20% health, 20, 30% champion, etc. But the fact that they can only be used in Alliance War and they last for 6 hours makes them somewhat attractive. They won't go into your overflow like the general boost will. And additionally, if they last for 6 hours, this can mean that you can potentially take multiple lanes during the same period if you plan ahead. The other ones that are specific to Alliance War are the gray boosts, and these include the invulnerable, the regen, and the advanced power boost, otherwise known as Power Start 1. I think people are fairly familiar with these, but they can only be used in Alliance War. The additional gray boosts actually appear on this other tab, and they're the Special 3 defense boosts, which basically mean you take 25% or 33% less damage from a Special 3. These can actually be used in all content. And finally, we get to the class boosts. And these ones are interesting. If you have these ones down here, like these 12%, essentially what this does is it boosts the special damage on your champions of a specific class, and they do not work when you have class disadvantage. These are often coupled with what are called power boosts or power back boosts. Essentially, the way to think about these, if you don't understand how they work, is imagine your power meter is 100%. Like each slice of your power bar is 1% leading up to 100. And then the opponent's health is also 100%, sliced up to 1% each time. When you pop on a 200% boost, basically whatever damage you do to their health bar, you get that back as power times 2, like at the 200% level. So for example, if you kill 50% of the health on your opponent, 200% of 50%, or 50 times 2 is 100%, which means you get 100% power. You're going to go from 0 to red. Similarly, if you only knock off 10% of their health, you're going to get 20% total power back. Okay, does that kind of make sense? These also exist in 150 varieties and are often used for champions that have things like guaranteed crits, or they're going to do a lot of damage off of their special 2 or special 3 so that you can basically get back to at least 1 bar of power with them. Think Corvus, Ghost, Mole Man, Cosmic Ghost Rider. They're very popular usage for these. And additionally, these are very helpful in Alliance War because they just sort of help you get fights over more quickly. So now we get to the question of why boost? Well, in Alliance War Tier 1, it's basically required, and I can say from being in SSX, which has gotten back-to-back Masters, that we do require boosting. We don't really have a specific guideline for you need this boost for every situation, but we just kind of trust our players to always be rainbow boosting, even if it's the lesser sort of small boost there, as long as they have one of each color so that they're doing the most they can. And the real reason that you do it is for confidence. First of all, going into a fight knowing that you have a little bit more health to play with is always nice. Additionally, it helps you end the fight faster, like that's obvious, but when that happens, there's less chances to make mistakes, there's often less danger. And then there's also the tiebreaker to worry about. We don't really emphasize the tiebreaker too much at SSX because we would rather have really good counters, really clean fights, even if they're going slowly. But, sometimes the tiebreaker does matter, and if you boost, it's going to help that. I've also used big boosts for content like Abyss of Legends, Karina's Challenges, and Grandmaster's Gauntlet. So really, boosts are quite useful in this game. They can save things like items, so that if you are farming boosts, then you have to farm revives and potions less in general, and it just sort of helps with the general economy of the game. So now we're going to get into the locations to pick these things up, and the first place is going to be the loyalty store. So the way this works, first of all, the gray boosts are always available, and they are on basically a 3-day cycle where you buy them. You can buy one and then they come back. I'm currently maxed out on all of them, but I am probably going to buy one of each before the season starts to go into the overflow, assuming that I'm probably going to be using them in the first war. I might as well take advantage of the timer. Additionally, at the top, there are always going to be 3 completely random boosts at the top. And these random boosts are usually going to be class boosts, but the other ones that it can be are basically the smallest variety of any of the rainbow boosts. So right now we see there is a lesser health boost, the 15% health. This could also be a 10% attack or a 10% champ. And like I said, any variety of the class boosts, whether they're the power back or the special boosts themselves. Additionally, the special 3 defense boosts can come here. My best advice for this is that at 9 p.m. Pacific time, this thing turns over. And when it turns over, I'm not saying you have to be up at midnight Eastern or anything, but just check it daily because it may be the class boost that you want that day. And, generally, I would say there are better sources for the generic boosts, for like the health, attack, and champion boosts. But when it comes to the gray boosts and the class boosts, I would say the loyalty store is usually the best place. Now, for most people, having enough loyalty is not an issue. Basically, if you are playing war, even if you lose, you get a nice chunk of loyalty, even for losing. This is a reason that during the off season, we still do wars every time, even if we don't take them as seriously and use items. Just the influx of the loyalty is important to be able to deal with all this. And then, as I mentioned before, a pro tip is to be okay with going over the cap if you know you're going to be using one soon. When they go to the overflow, I think they last for 7 days. which isn't a lot of time, but if you know that some tricky alliance wars are coming up, you may be able to throw them into the overflow and use them so that, you can't really guarantee when, say, Mutant 150 is going to come back again. And if you really want to use that and you anticipate using it, go for it. The other thing I want to talk about loyalty is these items here. I would say in some scenarios, these potions here, the level 3 Alliance War Team, are actually okay to pick up. It's just nice to have some potions that give a little bit more health than the ones you can get from the Glory Store. But in general, you don't want to be buying these revives. They are way too expensive. And also the lower potions are really not a good deal at all. So in general, try to get your items, like your potions and revives, from other sources. Revives are pretty much available anywhere. And I would save your loyalty for the boosts. And the last point when it comes to loyalty is just the Alliance War Victory and Challenger crystals, which are not very good, but they do occasionally give you a little bit of loyalty. Just even trying to find them. Yeah, these things don't really give you anything good. Most of the time they're signature stones or arena boosts. Occasionally you'll get a class boost, but because it's completely random, they don't really help you out. You will get loyalty sometimes. And my only note on these is there's not really any reason to not open them, and there's also not really any reason to save them because they are kind of worthless. But I do kind of just pop them as I go, occasionally get some class boosts, which can inform what I'm doing in the loyalty store, and that's the end of that. So moving on, we're going to spend a little bit of time now on events, solo events, and alliance events. So we're going over to this tab, and basically this is going to be kind of like a multifaceted discussion. We're going to talk about the 22-hour events, we're going to talk about the 7-hour events, and also certain alliance events. And this is really one of the biggest places that you can get boosts because of these supreme solo crystals. So before we get too far into this, because this event is about to end, I'm just going to kind of show you that these shards that you get are solo crystal shards. I have quite a lot of them because I do save them for boosts. If you can make it to the final level and get the 10,000, that's always nice, but it's not really required. I usually try to always go to the 25 unit level. But moving over to the crystal tab, we are going to talk a little bit about these. The Supreme Solo Crystals are a place where you can get a number of champion boosts. Essentially, you can get 10% attack, you can get 15% health, or you can even get 10 or 20% champion. Now, the fact that the 20% champion boosts are rare drops in here is great, because those are not super easy to come up with. And you don't always need to use a 30% boost, but sometimes having a 20% instead of a 10% is pretty nice. So I'm just gonna, because I have a lot of these, I'm just gonna pop 10 right now and just kind of see what we get. And in this stack, hey, look at that. We actually got one of the 20% rare drops. So this is actually a pretty good stack overall. The only thing that you have to worry about when it comes to these are these really big arena boosts. If you're ever planning on doing a grind with refreshing, these are extremely valuable. And if you pop too many of the Supreme Solo Crystals and these start going into the overflow and expiring, that's not going to feel very good. So in general, you can kind of see like the RNG here. I got 3 pretty useful boosts just from popping 10 crystals. I have so many of these things, like 43 are already formed, and I have almost 4 million shards, that these are always going to be available. Like if I ever feel like I'm running low on the small boosts, these are going to be available. And I can sort of treat them as like a pop as needed resource, which is pretty awesome. So let's talk a little bit again about the solo events. So these will cycle, let's talk about the 22-hour events first. These will cycle between arena wins, which is almost over. It will also have event quest completion, and then it will also have hero use and level up. And if you are trying to do these events anyway to try to get the revive and the 25 units, Just note that it also gives you a decent chunk of the Supreme Solo Hero Crystals. I don't really want to get too into this, but it's pretty easy for all of them except for the Event Quest one to just sort of play the game and get to at least the 4th milestone. And the Event Quest one, if you do kind of plan your life around a little bit, like if you're going to use energy refills on the final quest of the Event Quest, like the 3.2, where you get the most points, then of course you can try to do that so you get them, but I wouldn't emphasize going for it too much. So next up, we're going to go into these 7-hour events. Now, I really like these 7-hour events. Obviously, I haven't done anything with tech combat, but in addition to the Supreme Solo Crystals, we have the final milestone of all of these is a 15% attack boost. And the way I look at it, these are my favorite attack boosts to use. I like the number 15. The most sort of rare ones are 20%, and the fact that this is only 5% away from that means that this is going to be the one that I'm using the most when I'm rainbow boosting. And technically, if you play enough, every 7 hours you have the chance to pick one of these things up. So the 3 types of solo events that you have are combat, first of all, and the way you get points for these is to basically use the class that is written down, which is tech, and usually they give you like a finishing move. I think it's let's take a look at what it is because I always forget. But yeah, medium attack is the last hit, so they kind of do the vanquishing blow thing. So, you know, if you read and you look ahead, you can be like, all right, I'm going to do a bunch of arena. I'm going to just load my tech champs. I'm going to try to end with medium, so that if they die, it's going to be from a medium hit, and you can farm it that way. Additionally, another pro tip with the combat is to, if you're ever doing any auto fighting with like the 1 energy type quest and event quest, like, you know, heroic or normal difficulty, and you're doing some of the first chapters, just load a team of 6 stars that are all tech champions, auto fight. You're probably going to max out this event just by doing that. Similarly, there is the tech arena battle one, or I forget exactly what it's called, but there's basically like an arena version of this, and it's the same thing. You just kind of filter your champions. If you're already grinding, like say you're trying to make it at the same time as this 22-hour arena event, and you're already grinding, you can filter your champions to only be the tech ones. Just kind of run through your tech roster and see where you are on the arena battle one. And then finally, there is the advancement for this, tech advancement. Or whichever class. And my only pro tip for that is, in addition to ranking and leveling, when you use Sig Stones of that class, you get a ton of points. So say you're saving a bunch of like 3-star Sig Stones or 4-star Sig Stones or Awakening Gems, and you need to level up some of those champs. You can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone by chucking all those stones in, and then additionally getting points for tech advancement. Additionally, for the advancement ones, you can actually get points for opening crystals, including PHCs. So if you have a lot of PHCs that you are like the fully formed ones, like these, if you pop them at intervals when the advancement event is up, as well as some of your 4-star crystals for ISO and things like that, you will actually get some points and get the free 15% boost. So I think a lot of people are not leveraging these 7-hour events. I certainly don't recommend obsessing over them and doing every single one, but if you do it a couple times a week and pick up your 15% boosts, you're going to be in pretty good shape. So that takes care of the solo events. In terms of alliance events, these there's a few of these. Basically, these 1-day events are the places that you can get boosts. Now, the alliance help one doesn't give you any, but if we look here, coming soon, we have Perfect Series. And with Perfect Series, sorry, I keep clicking on the wrong thing, you can actually get a 15% attack just for participating. So basically, whenever you see this one up, if you do 1 arena match and the rest of your alliance is grinding a little bit, you can pick up this one. Similarly, there is a 1-day item use, and the 1-day item use comes with a 20% health. Which again, those are kind of nice. They're obviously more than 15%. They're a little bit more rare. So anytime you see that 1-day 24-hour item use, use an item, like use a small energy refill or another boost or something like that, and you'll be able to pick that one up. And then additionally, there's of course, we don't see it now, but there is a 24-hour event on the first day of Alliance Quest that's called Alliance Brawl. And just from playing Alliance Quest, you can pick up a 10 and a 20% of the champion boost every week. So those do add up. And then finally, when the Alliance War season is going, there is a solo event that we didn't talk about, which I think is just called Alliance War Fighting. But in the milestones of that, there are several gray boosts as well as one 30% 6-hour boost. And that comes basically once a month, once per season. So just getting one of those for free is pretty good to know. And again, the reason I'm even bringing up these Alliance events is just to know that they're there and to remember to pick them up. You should always be checking this at least once a day, like I just did. You can see coming soon, perfect series. Even if I don't have time to grind, if I do one arena match, that is a free 15% boost, which is pretty fantastic. All right, so finally, the last section here, we're going to talk about the big boosts, the 30% boosts, as well as any types of boosts that come from units. So I'm going to first just kind of show you this. We're going to the store and we're going to boost, and you can see that a lot of these are actually available for units all the time, including these 10% Alliance War ones, which I don't have any. Now, 30 units for one of these is a bad deal. I will just tell you that straight up. However, it is good to know that on this boost tab, if you have not been managing your account well and you do have some units and you're out of boost for whatever reason, you are able to pick them up here as like a last resort emergency type situation. So, you know, if you're ever at the point where somehow you've run out of boosts and you need to pick up like a 10% or a 15%, they are available here for like one-time costs. But as I've said, that is a bad deal. So I highly recommend planning ahead so that doesn't happen. So next up, I am going to try to find a screenshot of this, but the absolute best unit deal that you can ever get when it comes to big 30% boosts comes around maybe twice or 3 times a year, and I believe it's called the Energy and Boost Bundle, and it's usually here in the featured item store. Obviously it's not live now, so I'm just going to kind of scroll down, and yeah, the screenshot, hopefully I can find it and we'll put it up. But this is basically for 300 units, you get 2 of each of the big boosts. So that's 30% champ, 20% attack, and 25% health for 300 units, and you also get 10 energy refills. And now why I think this is definitely the most bang for buck in terms of boosts for units by far, getting 2 of each of those, and those are the most rare boosts that you normally have to pay like $50 for to get. And additionally, because you get the 10 energy refills, the way I look at those energy refills is you can convert those back into units, because even if those energy refills go into your overflow, you can use them to explore some of the lesser content. Like say you didn't have time to go do normal and heroic and things like that. That's units right there. You can go back to back issues and do the classic difficulty of some of them for units if you haven't completed them. Or if you've run out of content to do, you can basically farm energy refills or revives themselves, which do have a unit cost related to them, so that you can have more energy getting into the next month. Essentially trading an expiring energy refill for a new refill. So these usually have a limit of 3, and I will always, if I can, spend 900 units to get 6 of each of these boosts and then get 30 energy refills, which once again, I can make up some of that unit cost by farming units with those energy refills. So these are really good because the ones that are always available are these ones here, which are these Advanced Alliance War and Advanced Alliance Quest bundles. I picked the Alliance Quest one, and here you can see that you get 3 of each, as well as some items, which I really don't rate these items as having any value, because like I've said, you can farm the potions and revives very easily. So here we look, you can get 3 of these each for like 1,400 units, and I just said that for 900 units you could get 6 of each of these plus 30 energy refills to start making the units back. So this is why, to me, that one that comes up a couple times a year is almost essential to pick up because it is such a good deal. However, it is good to know that for free-to-play players or people that don't want to pick up the early access bundles, this one is always available, and because it's a little bit less than the next one that I'm going to talk about, it is a decent stopgap. I do think, we'll take a look at the war one as well. I do think that these revives and potions are not worth a lot because revives are so easy to get and you just need a small revive, and potions you can get with glory, or currently we're getting compensation packages for potions as well, or you can use your loyalty. So to me, those are a little bit of a waste. But the fact that you can get these war-based ones that last for 6 hours is kind of nice. And like I said, the unit cost is not terrible. 1,400 units is not the worst thing in the world. So this is like a moderately good deal. And if you are free to play and you need to find these somewhere, it's a pretty good place. But finally, we're going to kind of go full circle and we're going to go back to my quest here where, I didn't finish the quest. And we're going to just talk a little bit about this final deal that I am planning to pick up for about 3,000 units once I beat Sam Cap. Now, this one, I think it comes in for just shy of 3K units, and what it includes is 10 of the 30% boosts. So I can completely refill my inventory by spending 3,000 units. You also get 10 energy refills, which I've already talked about is a great way to make back some of the units that you spend and just be ahead of the game for the next month. And it does come with a number of revives and potions, which these can go to the overflow and be a little bit of a waste. But the good thing is that they're usually team revives and they're also sort of the bigger ones. So, if you're maxed out on the 20 and 40%, you'll actually get some 60% ones, which can go not into the overflow potentially. And the other thing is I am anticipating that 7.4 or something else is going to be coming next month. And I may actually use these items and energy refills anyway. So this is one of the main reasons I'm targeting the Cavalier deal this month, is because I actually think there's a chance I'm going to need the items anyway, so that if they're in the overflow, they might get used, or at least some of them might get used, and it won't be a total waste. Additionally, just for fun, you get 15k 5-star shards and 5k 6-star shards. And since I'm very interested in the 6-star featured pool currently, another 5k shards is not that bad. So for me right now, I just want to kind of compare this to that Alliance War bundle that we looked at. So the first thing to note is that the 30% boosts are not the 6-hour version, but it is important to note that you get 10 of them for 3k units, as opposed to 3 of them for 14k units. So once again, 3k units, you get 10 entire boosts, whereas you would have to buy the other deal twice, which would cost about 28k units, 2,800 units to get basically 6 30% boosts. So the way I look at it is the Alliance War bundles are about 6 boosts, whereas the Cavalier deal is 10. And yes, you don't get the attack and health boost, but like I've already showed, you can get attack and health boost from just about everywhere else. And the difference between a 15% attack and a 20% attack is really not that big. But the way I look at it, those 30% champs are the rarest and the hardest ones to get. And I've already showed you that the 10 and 20% boosts are fairly common in the game. So I would much rather spend my units and get the most rare one that is usually behind some kind of paywall, and get 10 of them at a time is just a really, really good deal. So like I've talked about, I will be putting some stuff in my overflow. So I am going to be targeting to purchase this deal at the very end of the month. Just use the energy refills to finish off Sam Cap, get the rest of the rewards for Cavalier difficulty, and then go into March sort of ahead of the game with the boosts. So anyway, I think I've covered everything. I hope this was an informative video for you. If you have any questions or tips that you'd like to add, feel free to leave a comment. But that's going to do it for today, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.